Hello everyone, welcome to this lesson on question analysis in paper 1. I'm very excited to share this knowledge on paper 1 question analysis with you all because I feel that question analysis is the most important step in paper 1. Why? Because if you do not analyze the question properly, you might actually write out of point, and that's the biggest danger in paper 1, writing out of point. It only takes 4 simple steps. The first step is to identify keywords. So basically, all you have to do is to identify keywords by underlining them, circling them. And what is a keyword? Anything you think is important, okay, for you to understand the question better. Now, let us take a look at an example. Okay, so now, identify the keywords in this question. Is it the? Come on, it's not the. How about the word? Perhaps it's important. And the word failure. Wow, very important. So a very simple underlining of keywords or words I think are important will be something like this. A very simple step. The second step is to look for words that we need to define. Okay? Or words that we need to clarify. Is there any clarification that needs to be done here? Perhaps, yes. I find that many a time people miss out this word. And if you miss this out, what will happen? They'll just talk about the failure should be used. No, because sometimes technically you can fail, but I don't use the word failure to label you. Okay? For instance, if you get 44 upon 100 for general paper, okay, technically you have failed GP. But on paper, in your result slip, what word do we use? You have a subpass. So remember, we are focusing on the use of the word failure itself and not failure per se. Now, should never. It's a very important word because never. When you tell me I should never do this, I get a sense that it is an extreme view. Okay? Education. Well, maybe that's the area we're talking about. We're not talking about the workplace. We're not talking about, you know, in relationships. We're talking about in education. So, well, let's focus on this area. Okay? Do you agree? Maybe I think that this is a very direct yes-no type of question. Okay? Which brings us to the third step. Question type. Okay? Technically, there are only 2 types of argumentative question. A direct yes-no question or an extent question. Where a person can ask, to what extent do you agree? Okay? I have shown earlier, that was a direct yes-no question. Okay? This brings us to step number 4, which is possibly the most important step, which is where you take a step back from the question, okay, to look at what am I required to do for this question. You must ask yourself this question, okay? What must I do for this question? What is the point of contention? Okay? To some of you, where the point of contention is a new term, it just means what are people arguing over. Basically, you form this little checklist. Alright? For yourself, okay? Normally about 3 items minimum, okay? On what you need to do for this actual question. Now let's see how we apply this final step to our sample question. So when I take a step back, I realize that I have to argue about why some people say it should never be used, perhaps. And I should also then give reasons why, you know, it can sometimes be used or it should sometimes be used. Okay? So how do I write it down in a checklist form? Alright? The first thing, I need to, you know, just give myself directions, give reasons. That's the first important requirement. If you write a few paragraphs giving some reasons like that, you've probably met quite a number of requirements, right? Okay? Okay, now for the second step, I probably need to give reasons. You see? I need to write a very balanced perspective. So give reasons why sometimes. So I've covered the two main points of contention for this particular question. Alright? And now the thing I need to look at is the context. Okay? This is just the last requirement. Usually it's about where should my examples come from. Okay? Should I limit myself to Singapore? Let's take a look. Does the question ask, anything about Singapore or, your society? Obviously not. So what I need to do is, basically, don't limit yourself to a local context. We want to get some global examples. Maybe some examples from Finland or from India's education system. And of course, we can use some local examples in the mix. Alright? Okay, so now I've gone through all 4 steps of question analysis. The 4 steps can be summarized very quickly. The first step is identify keywords. Second step is to look for definitions. Third step is to recognize the question type. And the fourth step is to look for to write this checklist of requirements for yourself. Usually about 3 of these instructions to yourself. You can remember these 4 steps with this little phrase, key definitions type R. So now close your eyes and try to remember key definitions type R. Right now, key definitions type R. See, I have remembered it. Now you can too. See lifestyle. Click and subscribe.